So I was counting down the weeks and I realized I was way behind in the series. So I kind of need to double up on some of the games that I've been playing and also kind of talk about them in more of a more like commentary style while I have the gameplay behind me, because this game actually made me do that, because this game, Pilot Quest, actually is more of an idle game, more of an is an adventure game. So I'll talk more about this game, but first, Pilot Quest actually has a subtitle called Return to Zoldath, which if you remember at the very beginning of the series, there's a game called Escape from Planet Zoldath. So a lot of the creatures that you'll see in this game will come from Escape from Planet Zoldath. So I like the attention to consistency with the lore and with the characters that are present within this game. So I absolutely love it, and how much the characters kind of interweave between each games, and how one game's connected to another game and one game's kind of like a spiritual sequel or a spiritual successor to one of the others. So I really enjoy that. So Pilot Quest essentially has one of the, I guess I would say, mascots for UFO 50 in this. I mean, you literally have the UFO that crashed down in this game at the very beginning, and the goal is to collect the parts that you're missing. Well, what happens is that you immediately crash down and you are met with this giant moon crystal, which when you hit it with your yo-yo, which that's your only attack, your yo-yo just spouts out all these moon drops, and you are collecting moon drops. And so I didn't really know what to do at first in this game, but then as you explore the hub world, you realize this tree can plant moon drop crops that can passively give you moon drops as you move forward and as you actually leave and exit the game. So it's literally an idle game. But then you go to workbench and you realize that there's 100 moon drops to get one moon ingot, which I'm like, that's a lot of moon drops, and I'm not really getting a whole lot of moon drops in this giant moon crystal. So I probably need to just get more moon crops and do that. So you just get more moon crops, and then you realize there's someone who's selling meat, and then you realize there's someone that's blocking an entranceway. So you buy the meat and you give the person the meat, and he allows you to go forward. And so that's where the game kind of really begins, when you actually go out and explore. So it's kind of like twofold, where you have this kind of management sim game in the background back in your hub area where you're managing all your resources, and then once you go out in the world after you provide this character with some meat, you are actually limited by time. So the amount of time that you have is dependent on how much meat that you have. So essentially, I think it's like 60 seconds or 100 seconds per meat that you have. So you can have you can increase the amount of resources you have as you increase the houses and the silos and other resources that you have. So you are limited by time, but as you get hit by the enemies out in the world, the time actually expires by like 30 or 60 seconds. So you're kind of like at a mad dash to explore and get everything that you can and get back, because once you actually lose time or essentially die, you lose everything you get. So it's actually kind of an extraction game at the end of it out in the overworld. So it's an interesting game, Pilot Quest, but I would say that this game actually just takes too long to get all the resources and try to min-max everything. I was buying some houses, I assigned some friends to make moon ingots for me, and then I wound up assigning a friend to just get science, which is actually the little beakers that you see on the side here. So I was getting moon drops, moon ingots, and meat and science to kind of build up and get more upgrades that you see when you talk to the science person, but it just wasn't enough. And I was going out into the world and I just wasn't getting enough time. I felt like the meat wasn't really spawning in a good enough rate. So yeah, this is an interesting game, and I can see where if you spent more time with it, like an actual IL game, you kind of get all the upgrades. You can see how far you can go with this game, but I felt like this wasn't clicking for me as much as it could, because I felt like it was taking such a long time. And even though I really like the fact that you can leave the game, you can come back, and it says that you have collected this amount of resources since you've been back, it also just didn't feel like you got a lot of resources. I think I quit the game for like a day and then came back and I got pretty like minuscule resources, where in other idle games, I feel like if you were to leave for maybe, I don't know, 8 or 12 hours, you would probably get a lot more resources that you would probably get in this game. So I love the take on the idle game. It's an interesting take on the idle game, but I don't think it was really vibing for me as much as I thought I would be. So I didn't spend too much more time with it after the fact, and I kind of just dropped it. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna earn a favorite for me, but hey, I can see the design here. I can see what this game was trying to do. I appreciate what Pilot Quest was trying to do, but it really just doesn't earn a favorite for me. Mini and Max is a fascinating game. It's a one player platformer adventure style game where the story is actually kind of dark. You're a girl trapped in a storage closet, but then you have your talking dog that suggests that you shrink down to explore more, and you literally have the ability to shrink down. But you not only have the ability to shrink down, you also have the ability to grow up. So I really like the exploration in this game, where you start in one area, you shrink all the way down, you explore the area, and maybe if you want to get to another area, or maybe want to move another part of the room, you shrink up, you jump up. Maybe you want to jump up on that bookshelf and then shrink down into the bookshelf to see what is there. So it's a really fascinating game. You shrink all the way down and you realize there are other characters that have the ability to shrink down, other characters to interact, there's enemies to be found. You also run into a number of different characters. One of the characters you run into early on basically gives you a rundown of how you get out of the storage room, which is essentially guarded by this king by the name of Mittens, which is essentially a cat. So you have to go around, you collect these things called shinies, which is essentially the stars, to use as currency to buy different things or to just explore around the world. So, and then you find other permanent upgrades. Like I got claws pretty early on, which gives you the ability to pick up enemies. Well, you'll find a lot of bugs or dust bunnies or germs or other things like that you will find wherever you're at. Like if you shrink down into this pot, you'll find a lot of insects there. If you shrink down into a bookcase, or you shrink down into maybe like a tour area, you'll be bombarded with like planes and tanks and whatnot. I really appreciate the art direction and how cool it is to see what happens when you shrink down. It kind of reminds me a lot of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, to see how imaginative this shrunken down world is. And one of the other abilities that you'll get in this game is the ability to shrink down even further. You can essentially shrink down into a microscopic area, which I was very surprised by, where you can shrink down even further. You can see the germs and the cells and the amoeba, and you can actually talk to even more characters that are in there. So this is a fascinating game. I really enjoy this game. It really encourages exploration because I had no idea where I was going from anywhere. I was just exploring, trying to figure out how to get these stars, how to get these shinies, how to get this power up, talk to my dog, try to shrink up and to go into the next area, and really just trying to escape. So I really enjoyed the use of how they use the space. Yeah, you're trapped in a storage closet, but there is an entire world in this game that you can explore, talk to different characters, meet them, learn their lore, learn the story. This one for sure earns a favorite for me, and I definitely enjoyed Mini and Max. And so these are going to be kind of how the last few videos of this series is going to go. I know I haven't been the most consistent with this video series as I did for the beginning, but the year has been gotten pretty crazy. But I'm almost done. I got a few more games to play, and I'm kind of gonna double up as I did with here as I get to the end, because I have to do like my 5 favorite games from UFO 50, so one from every single row, and do my final tier list at the end. So I still got that coming. I still am making good on the promises I made at the end of this year. I just kind of have to maybe speed run a little bit of the last few games here, but I hope you've been following me with the series. Hope you've been following along with some of the games I've been playing. Let me know how you feel about these 2 games, Pilot Quest and Mini and Max, and I'll be back maybe soon with the other 2 games that I've been playing from UFO 50. Thank you again for watching. If you want to see more from me, 2 videos will pop up here for you. I actually just recently made more music for another video game, for another game tab challenge, so feel free to check that out as well. Thank you again for watching. My name is Chike, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.